Good morning, my name is Bess and I am taking a picture of our float that was in the parade this past weekend, and the weather's getting kind of crappy, so I want to make sure I capture it before we dismantle it. Obviously it's a float that depicts some of the LGBT heroes of our community, and as you can see, we have Troy Perry up at the top. He founded Metropolitan Community Church. He also was one of the plaintiffs in the California marriage Prop 8. And he's just been really a true pioneer for LGBT rights. And then there's Cleve Jones. He is personally close to my heart because he is labor. He also he worked with Harvey Milk, and he conceptualized the AIDS quilt and made the first panel. And he continues obviously to be active today, and he's going to be at the Pride at Work conference in Cleveland in September of 2012. Of course, we all know Harvey Milk. He really, you know, out of the closet and into the street. Coming out is, when I think of Harvey, I think of coming out. This is the sponsors of this float. It was designed by my wife, Ann Tischer, and built by lots of volunteers. That would be the Empire State Pride Agenda, the Pride at Work chapter, of course New York Civil Liberties Union, and Marriage Equality USA. And we get up here, and Gilbert Baker, obviously everything you see rainbow can be attributed to him. We had the fortunate opportunity to meet him at the National Equality March in Washington, D.C. in 2009. He's always colorful and always friendly. Really have a lot of respect for him. Barbara Gittings, one of my regrets in life is never meeting her, but if you watch the video Gay Pioneers, she always had a positive attitude, and what I loved about her is that she loved being a lesbian and loving hanging out with lesbians. But she was very instrumental in getting homosexuality removed from the APA as a disorder, along with Frank Kamany, who recently died in 2011. What Frank I would just call tenacious. The man is single-handedly responsible for removing discrimination from federal law. He just was articulate. He persevered. I can't say enough about him, and he died actually relatively poor, and they had to do a fundraiser for his funeral. But he was always speaking his mind and was there, I believe, when President Obama signed the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. We have David Kato, who was the only out gay man in Uganda, and he was killed probably because of that. He was very brave, and his name was published in a magazine along with 100 others to be targeted as a homosexual and killed, and they got exactly what they wanted. There's so much work to be done in countries such as Uganda and Ukraine and Eastern Europe and South Africa. I mean, the list goes on and on. It'll get there, but if you're like me, you want it to get there today. This is obviously Leonard Matlovich. He was on the cover of Time magazine as a veteran. and I am a homosexual. And what people may not know about him, he was also a Mormon. He was excommunicated twice, apparently for good measure. And on his gravesite, I believe it was written that when I was in the military, they gave a medal for killing 2 men and a discharge for loving one. In any case, all these pioneers, we stand on their shoulders. Again, let's get a side view of the float. I'm almost finished. Sylvia Rivera. Now, Sylvia was Hispanic. She was kicked out when she was very young of her home. She lived on the streets of New York, and also suffered from several, drug addictions. But she was so vocal for transgender rights, and also was at Stonewall during the riots. She lived, I think, the last parts of her life. She spoke up about being at Stonewall, and also advocated for the youth. And she was also a member of New York Metropolitan Community Church, and to this day they have a youth ministry, and it's called Sylvia's Place. Really, we have a lot to be thankful for her, for making sure that transgender inclusion is on any legislation that's passed for GLBT rights. We got Larry Kramer, very vocal, founder of ACT UP, and if you don't know Larry, then you really need to hit the books, because he was and still is very vocal, and not everybody cares for what he says, but he always speaks the truth. And it may make you uneasy at times, but he's passionate and cares about his community, and I think that he's right, that we need to get off our ass and get to work and not tolerate any discrimination. Bayard Rustin. He, of course, worked with Martin Luther King on passive resistance, and he also was openly gay, and he really was put behind the scenes because of that. It wasn't a popular thing. I remember talking to Bill Lucy at CBTU, and he knew Bayard and was friends with him, and he said when Martin Luther King was killed, he was on a radio show in Long Island, and people called in and said, what can we do, what can we do? And he said to send $1 to the sanitation strikers in Memphis, and apparently there were, like, I don't know, an ungodly amount of $1 bills that arrived in duffel bags. And Bill often talks fondly of Bayard Rustin and his really living history if you ever get an opportunity. But Bayard was true to himself. And then Martin and Phyllis Lyons, they were founders of the Daughters of Bilitis. And I believe they both were married in California shortly before, I believe, Del passed away. So, I mean, this is only a snapshot of our history, and these are only a few people. In any case, thank you for listening, and have a good day, and go to your history books and let your teachers know that we need to learn more about GLBT history. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, speak it out and speak it out loud, and stand up for our pioneers and our heroes in the gay community. Thank you.